Hi, I'm Irving, and I'm an Adamaniac. Back when I posted my 1,000 subscriber video, we looked at Return of the Caped Crusaders. It was great to hear Adam West voice the character again. Despite being in bad health, he managed to give us one more. And as we begin, we can see he still has that Batman charm.
I brought my handy copy of the complete Elizabeth Barrett Browning. After all, poetry opens both the mind and the heart.
I'm more interested in you opening these bars.
And open they will. After only 37 more reformative months.
As long as she's not allowed to touch him. Batman don't do that sort of thing.
Batman! Attention! Batman! We're gonna be late!
I'm sorry, Catwoman, but duty calls.
Told you, and I think he just called Robin a duty. What they'll be late for is an experiment taking place at the state prison. Our old friend Dr. Hugo Strange has a new idea for reforming arch criminals. Everybody in law enforcement in the city is there to watch, including DA Harvey Dent.
Your perfect record for convictions precedes you.
Couldn't do it if you didn't catch them first, Batman. We make a pretty good team, if I do say so myself.
Like Batman and Robin.
Yes, Robin is suddenly jealous of Harvey. He's also Bruce Wayne's best friend. They've been friends since childhood. Dick Grayson is going to get jealous of that too. Right now, Dr. Strange, for obvious reasons they never actually call him that, has invented a machine that extracts the evil from criminals, leaving them with only good impulses.
The evil extractor will siphon the reservoirs of evil deep in the criminal's warped brains, then deposited into the vat.
And then what do you plan to do with it? We won't find out how he might plan to dispose of all that evil. What does evil look like anyway? It looks like the slime you put in bike tires before you pump them up. Maybe that's what Strange did with all that stuff. The Joker says, "Okay, boys, pour it on." They all start pumping all their evil into the machine, and soon enough it overloads.
Great Scott!
Jeez, that looks like it smarts.
Yes, that's who you think it is. We include the Joker flirting with her, and she never appears again.
Goes up, fall, to a point where it ends.
Harvey isn't Harvey anymore. He's Two-Face. When the comics introduced him in 1942, a gangster threw acid in his face and it drove him insane. He's been rebooted several times, so I see no need to be picky about what's canon and what isn't. This isn't the comic universe. It's the Adamania universe. We do things our way. From what we can gather, he went on some kind of crime spree and ultimately got caught. Now we're at the Sisters of Perpetual Irony Hospital, where he's had some work done.
Work impeccable.
It's not like you to be speechless, Bruce. What's the verdict?
See for yourself, Harv.
But everybody else has pig noses. He's hideous. Now bear in mind, while he was doing whatever he did, we won't get to find out, he wasn't in his right mind. Which is to say, he should be not guilty by reason of insanity. But Gotham is a rather unforgiving city.
They've agreed to let you return to City Hall as assistant to the assistant district attorney.
Assistant to the assistant district attorney?
That means you bring the coffee and empty the wastebaskets. Think of it as a 2 steps downward promotion.
You bet, Commissioner. I'll do everything in my power to earn Gotham's trust again.
As I said, their progressive penal policies don't include proper attention to mental illness, like everywhere else on Earth. 6 months later, we watch King Tut and a pair of tutlings steal a biplane.
Up the pen away, my tutlings! It's the only way to fly.
The only way to fly.
I'm starting to think Tut sampled that commercial. Gordon and O'Hara know exactly what to do. Turn on the bat signal.
Oh, Caped Crusader, if ever Gotham City needed you, it's now.
I wish I had $5 for every time he said that in the series and in these movies. Aunt Harriet is dolled up to the max and so excited she can't stand still. She and Alfred are standing in for Bruce and Dick at a big function.
The annual Millionaires Soiree, ending in a midnight tour of Gotham City.
Lucky for us, you boys have another one of your fishing trips.
Really, madam?
Come, Alfred, we mustn't be late.
Alfred needs to marry her and be done with it. Bruce and Dick are free to change to Batman and Robin and go deal with King Tut.
The company that sponsored tonight's midnight tour is the Nile Double-Decker Bus Company.
That has to be Tut's next target.
And we just sent Alfred and Aunt Harriet in our stead.
They have to catch up to that bus and stop Tut from robbing all those impossibly rich people who would never miss it. Sorry, but I've been in a few homeless camps and met some wonderful people who are on the skids. The meaningless baubles these people wave around could feed and house all of them for years. If Tut relieves them of a few, don't come whining to me.
Stop! Oh, good gravy, that's
Silence, plebeians. It is I, King Tut, and I command you to... shut up!
It's amazing what results you get when you keep it simple and straightforward. But that took long enough for the Batmobile to catch up.
Activating Bat Autopilot.
This autopilot not only keeps the car going straight, it knows how fast to go to get just close enough for them to jump on the bus, then back off and follow. The autopilot in Airplane was based on this design. And that's not all it can do.
Watch your step.
It's before beauty, I suppose.
It knows when Alfred and Aunt Harriet are on board, and hence it knows when to stop. And it has that big retractable net on the back. As we saw in Season 2, it also has a trampoline in the trunk. See, when he retires, Batman plans to open a mobile amusement park. What nobody realizes is he's got a roller coaster in there too.
Nuts to you, masked morons!
Fangs dipped with the fast-acting knockout venom.
Holy hypodermic!
Egyptian asp fangs, naturally. Ordinary darts would never do for a king.
What are these things, Batman?
Canopic jars, Robin, used by the ancient Egyptians to store and preserve the viscera of their owner for the afterlife.
Whose viscera go in those? The Jolly Green Giant? Better question, in all the times their enemies have had them unconscious, how come nobody thought to unmask them? They're at the bottom of a hole. That hole is part of the spot for the foundation of a new building that's going up. Tut and his men are dumping concrete into the hole to fill it up so it becomes part of that foundation. Batman and Robin are in the hole so they'll become part of the foundation too. And the green grass grew all around, and the green grass grew all around. Tut succeeded, but once the carcasses started to decompose and leave a big hole, the foundation weakened and Tut's wonderful pyramid tower crumbled to dust after 2 months.
Press the back of your soles against the side of the jar. The heat from the chemical reaction of the cement might trigger the bat jets.
What chemical reaction in the cement? The only chemical reaction that happens when you pour cement is the water evaporates, eventually. Besides, how useful are bat jets if that's the only way you can trigger them? My next question. Batman said to put the backs of his soles against the side of the jar. That means his feet are like this. That means when they trigger the bat jets, they shouldn't go straight up, they should go. They land and Tut gets a good bonk on the head. Batman and Robin take the professor to police headquarters.
Remember, Chief, King Tut committed the crime, not this poor, pathetic soul.
When he's knocked on the head, he forgets everything he did as Tut.
I think I get your meaning, Boy Wonder.
I don't think that's what he means, Chief. He was trying to explain that the professor really doesn't know anything he did as King Tut. That right there was a lawsuit.
Fie on thee! My secrets are as impenetrable as any vault in the Great Pyramids! Ah! Aha! Oh, what's happening?
They go back and forth again, and the professor's getting a headache. The next time O'Hara goes to hit him, he needs to kick him in the butt.
Our only recourse is to wait for the professor to see his day in court.
And if I have any say, he'll leave a free man. Lucille Diamond, public defender.
Hopefully, she can get him an insanity defense and get him to a hospital where he can get treatment again. I stand with my previous suggestion. a metal plate in his head.
Well, Harvey, do you have a case?
Looks like it, Commissioner. Despite my winning streak since returning to the DA's office, half of me hoped the poor devil would confess and save the expense of a lengthy trial.
I have faith that a jury of his peers will have pity on a sick man, Mr. Dent.
15 years with possible time off for good behavior. Tough break for the professor.
Yes, poor devil. Still, justice was served.
No, it wasn't. During the trial, Harvey manipulated everyone's words and jerked things around in some of the most unethical ways I've ever seen. And as a result, just so he could keep his perfect record, he sent a mentally ill man to prison for 15 years. That's not justice, Bruce. That's cruelty. But Harvey isn't totally cruel. He does have a charity that's near to his heart.
The Society for Underprivileged Fraternal Twins.
A worthy cause. The stigma of being the less attractive twin is a heavy burden no one should have to bear.
My wife is a fraternal twin. I have a feeling she and her twin brother would have some interesting discussions about which one is the less attractive twin. I would offer my assessment, but my view may be a little biased. A package for Batman has arrived in Gordon's office.
It's a book.
A world atlas, to be precise.
Saints alive! Looks like it's been eaten away by bugs.
Correction, Chief. Worms.
A book eaten by worms. There's a clue there somewhere. I just gotta rack my brain to try and figure out what it is.
Holy plagiarism! It can only be from that master of 1,000 stolen plots, the Bookworm.
Oh, duh. I knew that. I was just playing along. Yeah, getting into the story. That's right. Batman saw several pages of world capitals missing from the book despite its condition, and he figures out that the latitude and longitude coordinates of those cities correspond to Dewey Decimal numbers in the public library, in particular the area where they keep their rare books.
Based on my encyclopedic knowledge of the card catalog, those numbers correspond to rare editions of The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, The Man in the Iron Mask, and A Tale of Two Cities.
That's not how libraries handle their rare books, and even for rare books, the Dewey Decimal System doesn't use numbers to classify fiction. Have I mentioned that in the course of trying to decide what to be if I ever grew up, I worked in 4 different libraries, including one university library that had a rare book collection. We have a good Batman fight as usual, and once it's done, O'Hara and the cops come in to clean up. But there's a problem. Even though they caught the Bookworm and his goons, the rare books are still gone. Someone else took them during the fight. Oh, and one other thing.
Good thing Batman was able to piece together your little clue. Otherwise, you might have gotten away with it.
Clue? What clue?
He didn't send that box. Someone else did, I guess with the intention of getting him caught while they stole the books.
What common theme did the stolen books all share?
They were all stories featuring themes of duality.
I see Tut's crimes, though Egyptian-themed, also focused on the number 2. The biplane, the double-decker bus.
The number 2, a double cross. All signs pointing to
Two-Face.
It is indeed Two-Face. They track him to his last known hideout, but he escapes. You have to love how they're always so inefficient until the last 5 minutes of the show. Batman doesn't want to believe it's Harvey. It must be an imposter trying to ruin his reputation. Robin insists it's Harvey up to his old tricks. It'll become a point of contention between them. Batman says, "You're jealous of my friendship with Harvey, so you assume the worst," while Robin says, "Yeah, and you're lifelong friends with him, so you assume the best regardless of the evidence."
I can't go on like this. I insist you stop this madness at once.
Look, pretty boy.
So there is somebody else involved acting as Two-Face.
We had a deal, remember? I framed the super crooks and used their stolen loot to finance my criminal coup, while you convict them and reclaim your sterling reputation as DA of Gotham City.
He made a deal with the devil to get his old job back. That doesn't sound like the fine, upstanding citizen Bruce Wayne talks about. That sounds like Penguin when he suddenly became a good guy.
How dare they fire me after one little mishap? I'll show them. I'll show everyone.
As we've discovered by looking at multiple shows, "I'll show them" never leads to anything good. Batman is supposed to hang with Catwoman tonight, but he'll have to stand her up because of all this stuff. I'm sure she'll understand.
That does it. No man, or Batman, stands up the Catwoman.
Or not. She uses something on her necklace to call a cat into the place.
How did you get in here, you little tramp? Friend of yours?
As a matter of fact, yes.
Next thing we know, they've switched clothes and Catwoman is walking out of the place dressed as that other woman.
You're letting Bruce Wayne's friendship with him taint your crime-fighting objectivity.
And you're letting Dick Grayson's insecurity taint yours.
Holy blind spot, Batman! How can you not see dents up to his neck in this?
Sirs. Robin, I haven't had to say this in quite some time. Go to your room.
If you remember when we looked at the Son of Batman series of movies, he tried that with Damian too. And Robin will stay in his room just as well as Damian did.
The game is afoot, Mr. Dent.
He follows Harvey to Hugo Strange's lab where there's a new and improved evil extractor.
Robin, what are you doing? Get out of here before it's too late.
I don't think so, Harvey.
You should have listened to Harvey. Now sleep tight, won't you?
When Robin wakes, Two-Face says he's going to test the new evil extractor and see if it does the same thing to Robin that it did to him.
You'll never figure out how to use that without...
Hugo Strange? You know what they say. If you can't kill them in a horrible lab experiment, join them!
If that's what they say, you're listening to the wrong they. Robin is now a duality, and he's going around destroying stuff when Batman catches up with him.
This'll hurt me more than it does you, old chum.
Question, why couldn't he use bat gas or bat sleep? Of course, Batman comes up with an antidote and Robin is restored. Now to take another vial of it and try to rescue Harvey from whoever is pulling his strings. He'll be at the newly opened casino where he's holding a charity bachelor auction.
Batman, look at the size of those balls.
Get your mind out of the gutter. And by the way, guys, you're standing on a giant pool table.
The previous owner made his money running small-time gambling dens. He knew luck always favored the house.
It's easy to forget that statistically, gambling is always a losing proposition.
So is standing on a giant pool table for too long.
Batman in the corner pocket.
Why don't you use that rope to get yourself up onto the bumper and off the table?
Holy compaction! We'll be crushed!
Use your rope to get up onto the side.
Quickly, Robin, this is the only way.
Never mind. Batman's been wanting to try a giant slide like that his whole life. Next time, maybe a pinch less C4.
What now, boss?
Prepare them for the showstopper, but first, take a memo. Dear Gotham's criminal elite.
He's inviting them all to the unmasking of Batman and Robin. Question is, who is he?
I still believe in you, Harvey.
Then you're a fool.
How can you resist something that not only changes half your face, but changes half your clothes, too?
Of course. The scars are a physical manifestation of the evil extractor's gases. You've been living a double life this whole time.
Wait a minute.
I can't go on like this. I insist you stop this madness at once. Look, pretty boy, we had a deal, remember?
Who's he talking to?
What are you doing? Get out of here before it's too late.
I don't think so, Harvey.
Who hit Robin?
Harvey's not the only one living a double life, is he, Batman?
He's figured out who Batman is.
This fiend forced me to set up this charity auction as a ruse to trap Bruce Wayne in a lie. I only agreed because I didn't believe him. Bruce wouldn't keep anything that important from me.
Why not? He's kept it from Aunt Harriet and she lives under his roof. But as the bad side predicted, Bruce isn't here.
Which could only mean that he's been indisposed, as Batman is now. Voila!
The indignity of it
He's got the super criminals all sitting on a panel, and he's auctioning off the opportunity to unmask the pair and be the only criminal who knows who they are. We have Egghead, Shame, Clock King, Mr. Freeze, Riddler, Penguin, and Joker. As usual, Mr. Freeze is the Eli Wallach version. I guess we're still trying to make up for that. The bidding starts, and as you might expect, it descends into bickering really quickly. Which is what Two-Face wants, because he can extract more evil from them that way. I don't know how many people today would know that sound. The little bell you were hearing there? Gas pumps used to make that noise when they were running back in the 50s and 60s. It subtly tells us we're filling those tanks with Strange's evil potion. We've seen a few things like that, such as the rotary phone, all designed to tell us this is happening in the mid-60s, not right now. It might help the illusion if somewhere along the way somebody actually said what year it was, but this is more artistic. Yeah, artistic.
No one will see under his hood besides me. 5 million.
Oh, that's a little rich for my blood. But what do you say we combine the pot and we all get a pig? Then 10 million it is!
Looks like that's done, and the bad guys are ready to come claim their prize. There's only one thing to do.
We have to trigger this giant coin.
But you said it yourself, it's rigged!
There's no choice. Now!
According to my calculations, those spikes will obliterate our faces enough that they won't be able to identify us. Hang on!
Egad, come back here! We paid good money for you!
Robin, do precisely as I say. Shift your weight 10 degrees to the left. Based on my calculations, it will change the coin's center of gravity. And thus...
It puts the coin on edge. Thing is, when it's like that, it might roll for a good long time. Now, you can throw up on them as you go by.
Thanks for your help, Catwoman. I'm sorry about standing you up.
I've accepted the fact that your first love will always be crime fighting, Batman. So if you won't join my side, perhaps I'll join yours.
No time for that right now. Here come the bad guys.
Let Robin and I handle this. You might get hurt.
Silly boy. I know karate. Hi-ya!
She's fought you to a standstill before, dude. Stop underestimating her. We get a nice 3-hero fight that's reminiscent of the Batgirl fights from Season 3. When they're all down, Batman sees what Two-Face was up to. He's already taken off in the plane and started spraying the city with his evil gas. Good to know it even works on the dog. Batman and Robin are following on the Batcycle. They have to get up to that plane. Batman has an idea.
Use our ejector seats to get altitude, and pray the Batboot jets can do the rest.
Well, they got you out of those canopic jars, so they should be able to do this, but what are you going to put your feet against to get a chemical reaction and set them off?
Now, Robin!
There's no place like home. There's no place like home. They couldn't do that in the jars because their heels have to be exposed to open air for the igniters to work. It's true. I read it in the Batboot Rocket User's Manual. Never mind bringing him down. He'll do that himself. He wasn't worried because he knew the plane was a new advanced model that's equipped with both front and side airbags. He knew with protection like that he'd walk away from it without a scratch.
Batman, this place is going to blow!
What was your first clue, Boy Wonder? Was it that tank behind you that says incredibly volatile?
Then this is as far as you go, old chum. I'm going after Two-Face and try to get close enough to use the antidote.
On the other hand, maybe we should both stay here. Or better yet, get out of here. Batman says, no, I have to try and help my friend anyway. It's time to resolve something.
His friendship means a lot to you, doesn't it?
Yes. But not as much as yours does, Boy Wonder. I wouldn't want anyone else at my side in this never-ending fight against crime.
You know, in the 60s, a lot of things weren't fully standardized yet. Storage tank labels, for example. You might have some that tell you what's in them, or some might say danger or toxic chemicals, or you might have this. Flammable liquid could blow at any moment. Wouldn't you love to work next to that 5 days a week? Harvey can't fight the evil and it takes him over completely. Now it's Batman versus One-Face.
I've been counting your bullets. Now it's you that's on the auction block, and my fists are the highest bidders.
Unfortunately, One-Face is tougher than Batman is, and Batman's in trouble.
Wait, doesn't the coin have to decide?
Curse you, Batman, for being right. No. Impossible.
George Clooney did something similar in Batman and Robin, but instead of switching out his coin for a blank one, he just tossed 50 or a dozen more coins up at the same time. Same effect.
Tell me what to do.
Can't decide.
Now's your chance, Harvey. Fight him.
Unfortunately, Harvey took that idea a little too seriously, reloaded one of the pistols, and thankfully he only got 2 shots off before Batman stopped him. When Bruce Wayne took Harvey to the plastic surgeon again, the surgeon said, "Okay, but this isn't a warranty job."
I'm Harvey Dent, District Attorney, and I'm bringing you to justice.
Harvey Dent became the first person in American jurisprudence to do time for assaulting himself. But since he was the prosecutor, he had an airtight case. Two-Face is gone forever, or at least until the sequel.
That poor abandoned soul. But even Harvey Dent must again pay for his crimes, no matter what his mental state.
His blood was infected with a personality-altering chemical through no fault of his own. Once again, the law calls it not guilty by reason of insanity. It gets him sent to a hospital for treatment instead of a prison for education in how to be a better criminal. Better yet, just acknowledge that it wasn't Harvey Dent who did those things and let him off the hook altogether. Gotham City has some medieval attitudes toward mental illness. Batman loads the Batplane up with antidote and restores Gotham City to normal, whatever the heck that is. This city is weird.
Fane and Begorra, I feel like I've been on a 3-day bender.
There is no doubt in my mind that he knows exactly what that feels like. It's time for that bachelor auction. I'm glad we got all that crap cleared up so we can get on to the important stuff, like ugly fraternal twins.
The most eligible bachelor in Gotham City? Batman.
So some woman buys him, he goes on a date with her, she decides she wants to... How does he work the costume thing?
Who will make the first bid?
Holy Hugh Hefner!
Meow.
Is it legal to arrest her while you're on a date? Especially one where she bought you at auction? I mean, I know handcuffs and such are a thing for some people, but shouldn't he at least wait until the second date? I have numerous questions about numerous items in this movie. The penal system, for one. Neither Professor McElroy nor Harvey Dent should do 1 second of prison time. The way Harvey's face and clothes change is another, but it's superhero fantasy. Still, I would love to see how they might have done that effect on the show in 1967. Some things were a little over the top even for an Adamania level Batman story. This, for example.
Worms! Attack!
Wait, aren't you forgetting something?
Glasses!
At the police station between King Tut and Chief O'Hara, they bopped the professor over the head with O'Hara's nightstick 4 times, and there's not a speck of blood or a hint of a lump. Maybe he did get that metal plate installed. But you get what I mean. As with Return of the Caped Crusaders, we can hear how hard it was for Adam West to do this. but we can also hear that he gave it everything he had and pulled off an acceptable performance. Not too long after this, we lost him to the inevitability of time. But it's a mark of how much dedication he had to us, his fans, that he dug deep and pulled out one more appearance as the Caped Crusader. I know I've said it before, but Adam West was Batman to me. Until Michael Keaton, I didn't know any other Batman. I read one or two comics, but it wasn't the same thing. Then the movies came out and I learned his actual origin story and learned that he's basically clinically insane himself, and Adam West as Batman became even more precious to me. That Batman wasn't tainted by all this darkness, he wasn't haunted by the event that changed him forever, and he didn't operate outside the law. That was important to me, though I still couldn't tell you why. But my Batman was clean. The movie Batman, not necessarily. I never saw the animated series, even though I now own it and someday intend to watch and review it. Truth be told, it was when I reviewed the Arkham series of games that I got interested in the character again. And the 60s Batman became even more special to me. That's when I started doing Adamania, which is what brought us here. Good grief, I'm a windbag. There's not much more I can say about this movie except buy it, watch it, enjoy it, never forget. Adamania forever.